What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it turns out we have a Nintendo Direct this week, but not exactly one that people were thinking we'd see. Certainly not one that's an hour long, and now people are trying to figure out exactly what we're going to see here. We'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Microsoft once again raising prices. This time, though, not on a system necessarily that's sold in stores, but it's certainly a head-scratching decision. And we also have another game going into the GameCube selection for Nintendo Switch 2. And this one seems like it lines up perfectly with October and Halloween. All of that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. We're here every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, going over all kinds of stuff in gaming news. Try to keep you up to date. So if you don't see the video pop up in your notifications, just know it's probably there and you can just check around morning time. But we're going to start today with Sarah Bond once again talking about next generation for Microsoft, as people are trying to figure out what exactly are they going to do with the follow-up system for the current Xbox Series. Well, we can see this. This is posted by Shinobi, transcribed it, and it seemed to be an interview that she had with Mashable, saying the next-gen console will be a very premium and high-end curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking we have in this handheld, but I don't want to give it all away. So clearly people are looking at this going, well, one, that sounds really expensive, and yeah, probably. I mean, at this time with Microsoft, I would start to expect that $1,000 system being a reality, and then if it's less, it's like, oh, good surprise there. But the other thing being blending console and PC together, as they've kind of made this half step with that Asus Xbox ROG Ally X. It at least has the full screen experience and tries to present a console-like interface, but it's not quite there. You can still tell it's Windows, and the compatibility not really being completely, at least across the board for older Xbox console games. There needs to be some sort of emulator or something brought into play and make it so it's just an easy thing to turn on, pick out a game that's there on the Microsoft Xbox Store, and start playing it, even if it's an older Xbox 360 game. That's gonna be tough to figure out, but we'll see how Microsoft is able to overcome some of that and what price they turn in with. Also, it's not often that we talk about Fortnite here, but there was something that popped up that I'll admit even had me double taking at this whole thing. You can see this. This is over on VGC. They say the Simpsons is reportedly coming to Fortnite. Get this, including an entire Springfield map. Okay. Apparently it's gonna be cell shaded and everything. That is from Not Palo, who tends to do a lot of the data mining and stuff, and we have the reporting on it there. Yeah, it seems like this. They're saying that the nuclear plant is going to look very similar to that screenshot again with cell shading. So we're going to have like all of Springfield, I guess, represented in a mini season of Fortnite, along with different skins for, I guess these Simpsons characters. It sounds weird because I guess they're looking towards, let's face it, if it's Simpsons, you're probably looking more towards like almost boomers at that point, like just older people then. But that's what Fortnite does. It really does these collaborations constantly to try to bring people in who maybe either forgot about Fortnite or were never interested in it, and then they see one of their favorite IPs showing up and they're like, well, I guess I'll at least try it. It's free, and then before you know it, they've put at least some money in to get the Bart Simpson skin or something. But I guess we'll keep an eye out for this one. I do want to see how it really turns out and what it would be like, I guess, to drop into Springfield with a Fortnite gameplay style. Oh, and I have good news for Dragon Quest fans, specifically fans looking forward to Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. As it appears, Game Informer, their next big cover, is that. I mean, you can see it. It looks good. They made this announcement and showed off the artwork. It's this big wraparound design for the front and back cover, and you'll be able to get this just in physical magazine form. Again, I'm sure there are many Dragon Quest fans who would like to pick this up because it looks cool. Like, this right here reminds me of old PlayStation 1 media. Like, you know, you'd open the strategy guide, or get this, we had manuals back then. I know it's crazy stuff, but this is the kind of artwork or key art you would see. It wasn't at all what the game looked like back then, but I mean, this was really, really cool stuff. And it also mentions that in the Game Informer magazine, they will have an interview with some of the people at Square Enix who are working on this, and they'll also have some of their preview and impressions from playing the game for several hours. So really cool stuff. Look for that November 4th when it goes live, but then the game, of course, comes out February 5th, 2026. And guys, guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Nintendo Direct that is scheduled for tomorrow. This wasn't a huge surprise, but there is one part of it that has everyone wondering, okay, what exactly are they doing here? This we can see over on Nintendo's official account on X, where they say, join us on October 23rd, that being tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, for a second Kirby Air Riders Direct with director Mr. Sakurai. Everything there seems straightforward. We already heard about there being another Direct for this, but get this, the live stream presentation will last roughly 60 minutes and feature more info on the upcoming Switch 2 game. So, all right, I just want everyone to realize something. We had the first Kirby Air Riders Direct. That was more than 47 minutes. We now have this Kirby Air Riders Direct that is going to be apparently 60 minutes, although it might even go longer than that. That means the total runtime of Sakurai explaining Kirby Air Riders to people before the game comes out in November will be longer than the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is insane. But Sakurai, one thing I'll give him, he can talk. He can go on and on and on about very minute details in games and really tries to explain things to people from even like a layman's point of view, right? Just trying to talk about development and stuff. Like, that was really cool about his channel is he understood he had to really break things down to explain it well. And as you see in even just talking about Smash Brothers, each individual fighter would get 20 or 30 minutes in some of the fighter breakdown directs that he would do. So it's not surprising that he can necessarily do a 45-minute direct on Kirby Air Riders, but I do wonder, what is he now going to talk about for another 60 minutes? And that's what has people wondering, okay, hold on a minute. That he's still working to obviously sell the game, but another 60 minutes, what is he going to talk about? This, you think, means he would have something really, really big to show off outside of, I guess, going through and talking about each individual character and their mechanics and any special features about them. I mean, that's all very possible. He could just go through and do that. I do wonder if there is, and I'm just throwing it out there in the universe and kind of hoping, some sort of adventure mode or single player mode, something to really set it apart from Kirby Air Ride, like on the GameCube, which people look back on that very fondly. I mean, I remember having it on the GameCube and having fun playing with my brothers back then, but it didn't exactly review the highest. I think it was like a 60-something on Metacritic. And again, people look back on it, it's a lot of nostalgia. But I would like to see the game, because from what we've seen so far, still looks like a lot of, just more of that GameCube game, which is fine. That's what people want, really, or fans of the series. I would like to see something big like that, an adventure, like game mode or something. Something you can play through on your own, and maybe it's like Diddy Kong Racing kind of adventure mode, something like that. That would be a really, really big feature add-on for this game. That's what I'm hoping to see, but the reality is most likely to be Sakurai talking about each individual character and taking up, yes, more than 60 minutes doing so. But I guess we'll find out tomorrow morning what he has in store. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft once again raising prices. Not necessarily on consumer-facing systems. No, this was a little weird because I don't think we would have really heard this info at all if it wasn't for The Verge. Apparently just seeing documentation that was relaying this information to developers, most likely on Microsoft's backend portal for devs who wanted to order a dev kit. Yeah, those are going up in price. So we can see this. This is over on The Verge. I'll link down below in the sources as well if you want to read a bit further, saying, after raising prices on Xbox consoles and subscriptions, Microsoft is now turning its attention to Xbox developers. Sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tell The Verge that the company is significantly increasing the price of its Xbox Development Kit, or XDK, the custom hardware used by developers to build Xbox games. The current Xbox Dev Kit is moving from $1,500 to $2,000. That's a 33% jump in price, saying, quote, the adjustment reflects macroeconomic developments. Now, this is Microsoft said it in an announcement to Xbox developers, seen by The Verge, going on to say, we remain committed to providing high-quality tools and support for your development efforts. It looks like The Verge, Tom Warren asked Microsoft to comment on the price rise, but the company didn't respond in time for publication. I really don't know what Microsoft's going to tell them other than just that. Macroeconomic issues, what have you. And, you know, I saw this and I said, oh, that's weird. But also at the same time, I do wonder how many developers out there are jumping to buy an Xbox development kit right now when we're basically 5 years in, and we already hear Sarah Bond talking, I mean, multiple times now about next generation, it really does feel like Microsoft also kind of ready to move on from this generation. And there's a lot of uncertainty, as we're talking about right now, how things will even move over to this apparent hybrid PC console that we believe they're working on. So while it is odd for them to go, oh, it's jumping $500, and yes, I'm sure there are smaller developers who are like, man, that just makes it even harder to get an Xbox development kit. There are ways that you can go through, like they have their ID program, Microsoft does, where you can pitch a concept, and if they like it, they'll just give you a dev kit, like you're able to do that. And you can even put your Xbox Series, with limitations, yes, into development mode and link that up to your PC and at least try to run some of your games through development, make sure they work and stuff. So there are other options. This is just a very weird headline to see pop up because I just don't, I mentioned how many people are even buying it, but if that's the case, what's the point for Microsoft to even raise the price of it? I mean, again, here soon, we figure Microsoft will go on some kind of marketing run, even if it's at the beginning of 2027, to start talking about what the true future of Xbox really looks like. You know, like what are we going to do here after this console generation if they really want to pull together PC and Xbox? And what does that mean for developers? Well, apparently it means right now anyway, it's $2,000 for a dev kit. Very, very strange moves from Microsoft over the last couple of months now, but I mean, eventually they got to start talking about next gen, and then I guess we'll see then what their real plans are. Next up, let's talk about an awesome addition for the GameCube library on the Switch 2. We already knew this was coming because we saw some of the future games that Nintendo put out there in that Direct for the GameCube, and this was in there. That's Luigi's Mansion. This we can see over on Nintendo's official account, where they say, Luigi's won a mansion. The bad news is it's crawling with ghosts. Discover what frights await in Luigi's Mansion, coming to Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics on Switch 2 for Switch Online plus expansion pack members on October 30th, so just in time for Halloween. And it makes perfect sense. And I think most of us looked at that lineup and said, yeah, you might as well put Luigi's Mansion in October. I mean, I'd argue they could have even put it in earlier. They could have dropped it right now, give everyone like a week or so with the holiday season. Because with Halloween, here's the thing with Halloween. November 1st, it's in the rearview mirror. People are done with it. That's it. This game's going to come out on October 30th, and by the time people are firing up, playing through it and stuff, and giving out candy at Halloween or going door to door to get candy, people already be talking about Thanksgiving. And hey, we're halfway to Thanksgiving. People already putting up the Christmas decorations. So it's like people have definitely forgotten about Halloween by then. So it would have been cool to see it maybe a week earlier than what they're doing here for October 30th. But nonetheless, it's an awesome game. And as soon as I saw it announced, immediate flashbacks. Let me know if anyone else remembers this. The McDonald's kiosks with Luigi's Mansion. Back then, McDonald's got kiosks in like their play place area, like when the GameCube came out around then. And Luigi's Mansion, being one of the launch titles, was like front and center. Every one of those kiosks had, I think it was at the time, I feel like it was either Luigi's Mansion or Wave Race. But I definitely remember Luigi's Mansion and playing it, being like, these are the best visuals I've ever seen. I don't know how it gets any better than this. And a lot of that were things like the lighting effects. It was crazy looking. So now a whole new generation can play Luigi's Mansion for the first time. And I know 3 is very good. I still look at the first one as being like top tier in the series, and a lot of that has to do with nostalgia. Looks awesome on the GameCube still, and I feel like it should look really, really good on the Switch 2 as well with the upscaling and other things they're doing there. So awesome. I'll be checking this out, at least firing it up just to see how it looks on October 30th. I've played through the game multiple times now, but it's gonna be really fun to see people who have never had a chance to play it try it out here for the first time. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about these Halo World Championships that are coming up here in a couple of days on Friday, where we know that there is going to be something shown for the future of Halo. There's going to be a deep dive on everything, and there are currently 2 games that are being rumored to release next year in the Halo universe, that being Halo 1 Remake and some kind of multiplayer live service Halo game. Well, it does appear whatever's being announced here gonna be on the PS5, and that is already, people are already preparing themselves. Not only in the Xbox side, but also in the Halo community, because that's going to be weird, let's face it. So this we can see, this is over on Grunt API, their official account here. And typically what you'll see from them is a lot of information around, say, like data mining and data and stuff on the back end. They have a comment here and then the PS5. Now, they then say, I'll see you at Halo World Championships on Twitch with Halo Studios. Okay, they should have their moment. Now, Halo Studios, again, has 2 games coming out, and I will say, it would make sense for them to show off the Halo 1 remake because I figure that is going to be released, we'll say, for next year, since it lines up perfectly with the 25th anniversary for Halo Combat Evolved, as well as the original Xbox, sure. But here we are now with that in this multiplayer game and the PS5 logo. And I said before it's going to be weird, but also it might be kind of that jolt for the Halo franchise. It needs something like that, like a nice shot in the arm right now. Because Halo Infinite, by the way, Halo Infinite is a lot better now than when it came out. And I mean, they had years to work on it, so you figure it would be better. But it's actually a pretty fun experience. It's just, again, people move on. That first impression wasn't great. And it was never really able to recover after the initial shock of, oh, Halo Infinite's out now. I can go play it. It's free to play. Since then, it's just a couple thousand people at all times on SteamDB or whatever it is. But here, though, Halo 1 Remake, PS5. No multiplayer? That's the thing that people are trying to figure out right now. There's no multiplayer, it's just campaign. Well, if you have a multiplayer game with the live service also coming out on the PS5, that would be, I guess, the first real look at multiplayer Halo on PlayStation. It's still just going to look very strange. I might have to get the Halo 1 Combat Evolved remake physically, I guess, on the PlayStation 5, because I have to see it in person. It's one of those things that back in the day, you would never believe. Imagine during the Xbox 360 era, someone was like, oh, Halo's going to go to PlayStation. It's like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? This is Xbox. Well, we'll see this week, because that finally might be happening. And I would say that would be historic even. So I guess keep an eye out this Friday for whatever this deep dive and big announcement is, because if it's Halo 1 Remake on the PS5, that's going to be something. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, are you planning to buy or hoping to receive a new video game, console, or PC this holiday? 88% say no, 12% say yes. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was younger, Christmas is when I would take the shot of like, oh, I want this console. I at least just put it down. I want this system. And a lot of times I would get not always the newest system. I remember one year, and it's funny I look back on it now, I got the Dreamcast, and I would always be not a generation behind, but I would get a system multiple years after that generation had started for the most part. And I think I got the Dreamcast when they were $50 at retail. My parents didn't tell me. Still though, the Dreamcast was awesome. I was still playing that for quite some time. I had the Dreamcast, the PS1, and the N64 when the PS2 had come out. My friend got a PS2. And I was still playing the Dreamcast like crazy back then, along with the PS1. There were a lot of good late generation PS1 games around that time because it still worked on the PS2. But I would always be like, okay, maybe this is finally the year. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to ask for the GameCube. So when I got that, Christmas morning is amazing. So it was interesting to see that it's like 88% say no. Although we're also pretty far into the generation right now. And I think people are probably have the systems that they want for the most part, maybe outside of, I guess, the Switch 2. And that'll probably be a big holiday seller. But I did see people in the comments going, oh, some games, some PC parts, that being a big thing. Some were saying tablets or a new phone or something. So, hey, consumerism's still running wild, but maybe not as much with some of the consoles. Well, we should also wait and see maybe what some of the Black Friday deals and Cyber Monday deals will be. I think those are already also getting out there. And of course, I'll keep you guys up to date on that as that happens. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Beans, who says, where did you get your t-shirt from? I saw a lot of questions around this. And I recently went t-shirt shopping, as people have noticed, and I'm still getting some actually in. Some are more being shipped in. So I've been picking some out here and there to see. Like the Concrete Genie one is the thing I figured that one would throw people off. And I have some other ones that are not necessarily niche, but may not jump out to people immediately at first glance. So I think those are kind of fun to have. But for the most part, I've been looking around at their different websites. I think TeePublic is one. And there's a bunch of them where it seems to be different artists and stuff putting shirts together. And I just go through and pick them out until I get to the point where you get like free shipping for the most part. I mean, it's shirts that I wear here on the show, so it makes sense to change things up a bit. Maybe as I go along and I remember to do it, I'll leave a link in the description for the different shirts that I come across. And that way, if you're interested in it, you can just go there and I guess support the local artist or whatever store they have. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card, or maybe you want to check out the latest episode of the Spawncast where we talk about the past week in gaming. That's also up right now, and I'll leave it right below it. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.